All right there, happy campers, boys and girls out there in Never Never Land. Okay, I have accomplished something here. What I've done is I've made some changes to my jig. Now, this is the 3 1/4 inch coil that I've made. I've had to use a chop saw to chop it down from the 5 inches. Right now, I don't know if you can see, it's kind of dark. I'm using the light here. What I've done is I've got it in here. I've epoxied it into the new 3 mil plastic. But I've made the jig, so I need to get it so it's true, because I do have a motor that I want to motorize this, but there's not a problem doing it by hand. But I need to get this so, because talking with Ron and all this, I want to be able to make, I got to make 12 of these cores, or these coils. So what I've done is, now this is going to be the face, the north firing. So what I've done is I've changed the way that I had it. I've used an old fan motor that I got from that induction cooker and stuff like that. Now I've put in some brackets. But what I've done is I've got it so it snugly fits in, and you got to work with me here. What I've done is I've got it so it sits in here like this, because now the thing is I don't buy a big sheet of plastic and, you know, cut it myself, because I'm on a boat. I'm on a almost 60-foot boat, and I don't have table saws. I do have a drill press. That's a mandatory necessity on a boat. You have to have a drill press, cordless screw gun, etc. Basic tools. Put table saws and things like that where you can get accuracy, and I just don't have them, and because I don't have room. And so what I've done is I rely on these other little shops that I buy plastic from, and that, well, I don't know if you can kind of see, like with my finger here, this is 3.5. But the pieces that I told them to cut, they're 3 5/8, so there's a problem. But it's Saturday, and just don't have time to go get new plastic cut, etc., etc. So I'm just, on a boat, you adapt, you overcome, kind of like what the United States Marines do on Hollywood movies. So I've had to adapt with that. So I've got different aluminum, even though aluminum is bad on a boat today. It was the easiest thing to grab this morning. Stainless steel, they didn't have the 1.5 inch that I wanted for stainless steel, so I have to have aluminum. So on a boat in seawater, this is probably only going to last a year before it starts pitting. But what I've done is I've made it so it works. So, sorry I'm smoking and drinking, but it's Saturday evening. Come on, guys. So, anyway, I've got this in, and what I've done is I've made this jig, and so it holds it. And let me get this in, and I can kind of show you what Alan is doing to keep things in order, to put balance in his universe. So even though I'm trying to keep everything focused with this little camera that's on the side of these big orange glasses, and that, hopefully it'll work. Alright, so that's done. So I've got, because it was hard to mount this plate to the shaft, because the shaft ends like right here, and then but anyway, but because it's a shorter shaft, and I want, on the first 2 coils that I had made, and I was going really, really slow, and the thing is, it almost took me like 9 hours. 9 hours of winding to make a coil. And again, it's 1600, and now after with Ron's his expert tutelage, if you will, and that now I'm going to be going up to almost 1900 or 1900 RPMs, 1900 turns. So now that I have this in, as you can see, I can really start to go faster, with this. Let's go backwards. And I don't know if you can see this here, but if you see, it's supposed to be 180 degree. As you can see, I would really like to start spinning on this, and I think I've got that because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 hold in the side, even though because this is the 3 mil, so I've got like 16 mil plus a 3 mil. That's attached to this part right here. This 3 mil is part of the actual bobbin. Here's the core. Here's the other 3 mil, and then that's it. But then over here, it's just a fan. It's an old fan that it's not a box fan, but because it mounts below. But anyway, so that's still there, and I've got it so it helps support it. So now I can start to, even though then back here it tells me how many meters I'm putting on of the 0.7 mm and the 0.5 mm. So this is what I'm going to start with. So tomorrow morning I'm going to start making the jig. Start making the coil. And again, it'll probably take me most of the day. And that because I'm very diligent on getting a really nice wrap. I've got white vinyl tape, and that plus I also have the PTFE thread tape. Now nobody has ever told me if this is like bad. And, PTFE, again, this is that Teflon tape. I don't think that it messes with the magnetic field at all. But I see PT and I see FE, and the first thing I see FE, I always think that's iron. So nobody's ever told me if that's a wrong thing to do. But I've got it but it's just so damn thin and it's so easy because when I go to, when I pull the wire up and I wrap, because again, if this is the front, then I start to wrap, and as you can see, then I kind of keep coming like this, and then it goes back that way, in this direction. So nobody's ever told me if that's bad. So I don't know if that's bad. I've tried to research it, but nobody's ever said it was a bad thing. But I do have, the vinyl tape as well. But that's just so much thinner than the vinyl tape. And all I really use it for is for every layer to make sure that I see that every single wrap is tight against the next wrap. And that's what I want. I want to make the most perfect coil that I can with the tightest wrap, and then bring it back and go back again and see that but when you're, this copper wire on top of copper wire, it just starts to get all messy and crazy, just like we have right here. So that's why I put that Teflon tape on. So please tell me if that's wrong, and only use the vinyl tape, then that's what I'll do, as long as someone gives me a educated explanation and not just an opinion. So, but that's what I have, and so I'm right now, I've got, it is very, very secure. The side is secured on all 4 corners. This side is opposing corners. We're secured there, so any weight on it, so I'm able to start spinning this at a very rapid rate. So the wire comes up, Alan's going to town. And that's what I want to do. So your input right now on if the PTFE tape is bad between layers, love to hear from you. If the vinyl tape is so much better, love to hear from you. But that's it. So I'm going to start going with what Ron has said. on this coil because I'm still going to probably make about 3 different trigger coils, trigger run coils. The run coils are, that's a no-brainer. You know, it's just a single coil on over the top of this core. There's no trigger in it, so that's the other 11 coils. My biggest concern right now is this trigger coil because it's going to go out to the rest of the circuits, and that, you know, again, like here's the 2 battery circuit. So again, to have this on there, and that, I mean, I've got it. This circuit happens to be a really nice circuit because it's running cooler than the actual temperature of the room or the temperature of anything. The coil was hot, but this was still almost a full degree cooler than what the temperature of this table, or, well, definitely a lot cooler than this beer. But that's the thing. So the new circuit, which is still over here on the old coil, because here on the old coil, or the second coil that I've made, that is too long. No, this is the single battery coil, and that. And again, now I've got 3 of the 5804s, 5408s. But anyway, I've got those. But these are still running hot. I've tried with some of my old coils. Doesn't matter what I do with the one battery connection with these, the diodes still run hot, and I don't understand that. So if anyone can tell me why this Tin Man modified single battery circuit, why the diodes would run hotter, because I mean, it's just a flow thing. Now, I mean, living on a boat, we live on batteries. These lights that are up here, that's how I light my boat, is batteries. And I mean, I wire DC panels all the time. Here's my newest. This is for a Bertram that I'm putting together right now. I don't know if you can kind of see that. It's kind of dark, but here's the business side. I use a really nice brass and get it. So I mean, I understand DC power for vessels. That's what I do. I've been on boats since I've been 9 years old. That's what I really understand. But why does this circuit? Oops, Jesus, I just bent it. Why do these diodes on a single battery Tin Man modified SSG circuit, why do these diodes get hot? I'm really curious. I'd like to know why that is, but my research so far has not given me an answer. So anyone else who could tell me, I'd love to hear you, because this right here, this standard 2 battery setup, that the charged battery, which cannot have a load on it, which does not fit with what I want, because I need to put a load on it. So this one runs cooler than the ambient temperatures, but yet the transistor on this one runs at the same room temperature, and after 2.5 hours, it will go 1 to 2 degrees Celsius above room temperature, but these will be running 2 to 3 degrees, or no, 3 to 4 degrees above room temperature. So I'd love someone to tell me that. But what's going to happen now, tomorrow, Sunday, so in the morning, I'm going to start winding. I'm going to put on the trigger coil, and then trigger coil, which is the 0.5 mm, and then I've got the 0.7 mm, which is the run after that. So I'm going to make this coil, which is 3 1/4 inches, but the actual wrap is only 3 inches on the core, and there's 1/8 of an inch and 1/8 of an inch that's covered by the bobbin plate. So with 3 inches, which is 82.5 mm, And so I'm going to have that. Then the second one that I make will be the run and the trigger will start together until when the trigger coil comes to 49 meters, which will give me, because when I go here, when it comes to 49 meters, then I'm going to stop the trigger coil and just kind of tuck that off to the side. And then I'm going to continue putting on the 1,800 plus, nearly 1,900 turns of the 1.7, the run coil, on with that. So then that way, hopefully, I can see the difference in amp draw between the trigger on first and then the run. And then the second coil will be the trigger and the run together until the trigger runs out at 49 meters, tuck that on the side, and then finish out the run coil. So between the two, we'll be able to see how many watts and how many amps are being drawn on right now using the 1 inch by half inch by half inch, because I do not have the 1 inch by half inch magnets yet. They should be here by the end of next week or the middle of the following week after that, because they're making it. The factory is melting down the stuff, and then they're going to magnetize it. So that's how it works over here for me in China. So because I can't buy stuff straight off the shelf. So, but that is what's happening here, and you have to admit it's kind of holding somewhat true. I mean, there's a little bit of give, but I've made this so it has the play in it. So right now we're coming back to 0. So there we go. We're at 0. It's in there. I only have to take out this corner bracket and these 2 corner brackets, and the whole thing slides right out. So we're at a good point to start tomorrow, and I have beer. I've got a full pack of cigarettes. Oops. I have a full pack of cigarettes, and this is called, I don't know if you can read Chinese, that is called double happiness. Double. It's not just regular happiness, guys. Double happiness. And only 9 milligrams. You can't go wrong. So, if you guys go out for dinner at a Chinese restaurant anytime this weekend, what I want you to do for me, and I want you to just kind of like go back and listen to me and just kind of have repetition and practice this. Go to a Chinese restaurant, and the first thing you say to your waitress is, 我要一瓶冻的老青岛啤酒. Now that means I want one very cold, old draft Qingdao beer. Alright? Well, actually, that's going to be the first lesson. I don't want to confuse you. So let's say that again. 我要一瓶冻的老青岛啤酒. Alright, guys. Your frickin' Mandarin Chinese is fantastic. Alright. So on that, let's have a little spin of the new jig. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Be good, be safe, be well. Bye-bye.